Damn, I look kind of good. I wonder. Oh, Jesus Christ. How many times do I have to ask you to knock? The Viper Guide. The Viper Guide? Well, let's see. Do you hate your wrists and want to revel in the pain of hand cramps? Okay. Do you like snakes? Do you mean I'm not selling it? Do you want to be like the Black Swordsman? Kirito from Sword Art Online, of course. Well, you've come to the right place. Viper's first hand cramping combo starts off with, wait, what the hell is this sword gauge? Get this shit out of here. Anyway, where were we? Oh yes. To begin with, we have our dual blade single target combo, starting with Steel Fangs and Dread Fangs. These are the two combo starters. Steel Fangs is just raw potency, while Dread Fangs applies the debuff Noxious Gnash, which makes us do 10% more damage to the target we apply it to. It lasts 20 seconds, but can stack up to 40 seconds. This sounds exactly like that one Reaper ability. Dine Death? Death's Dine? Nah, maybe not. I'm sure it's totally original. Anyway, the idea is to use Dread Fangs to apply or reapply Noxious Gnash, then for the next combo, use Steel Fangs for more raw potency. But make sure we keep an eye on the Noxious Gnash debuff timer. And for our next attack in our combo, we have two choices again. This time it's between Hunter's Sting or Swift Skin's Sting. Hunter's Sting grants us Hunter's Instinct that increases our damage output by 10%, while Swift Skin's Sting grants us Swift Scaled, reducing weapon skill cast time and recast time, spell cast time and recast time, and auto attack delay by 15%. That's a lot of words for what is essentially just a haste buff. Both of these buffs last 40 seconds, so just like Samurai's Fujitsu and Fuka buffs. But of course, Samurai's buffs are both 13% and are combo finishes, so that's completely different and unique, of course. Either way, we're now on the finishers. After landing Hunter's Sting, we get the choice between Flank Sting Strike or Flank Bane's Fang, and it seems unsurprising that these two get increased potency from the flank positional. Meanwhile, after landing a Swift Skin's Sting, we get the choice between Hind's Sting Strike or Hind's Bane Fang. And just like the name implies, both of these should be executed from the target's hind. So in-game terms, the rear. So after doing Hunter's Sting, we know the next hit will always be a flank positional, and after every Swift Skin Sting, we know it will always be a rear positional. We can also use the colors of the skills. Flank Sting Strike and Flank Bane Fang are both green, while Hind's Sting Strike and Hind's Bane Fang are both red. It's like a built-in cheat sheet. Green equals flank and red equals rear. Whoa, that's crazy. But before we get ahead of ourselves, there is more to it than just that. Each one of these finishes have some additional effects, so let's go over them. Firstly, every time we execute one of these finishes, our Serpent's Tail will become a Death's Rattle during that weave, which is a free damaging OGCD, and who doesn't like free damage? But it's only during that weave, and it would feel a little bit silly to miss out on this, so press it ASAP, you dummy. Each finisher also increases the Serpent's offering gauge by 10. We'll come back to this later, so just keep this in your cute little head for now. As for the final effect, for every Flank Sting Strike executed, the potency of Hind's Sting Strike is increased. Hind's Sting Strike increases the potency of Flank Bane Fang, and Flank Bane Fang increases the potency of Hind's Bane Fang, and Hind's Bane Fang increases the potency of Flank Sting Strike. Wow, how overwhelming. But let me tell you, it's really not as complicated as it seems, and you realistically don't even need to remember all that, so listen up. Okay, so disclaimer, everything explained here will be for example's sake, and not be the most optimal, as we haven't even gone over Dreadwinder yet. So get off my ass, balance mentals. The optimization will be discussed and broken down later, so you can judge me then. We have a deal? Good. I look forward to reading mentions of me in the Viper Lounge. Anyway, let's start at the very beginning of our combo. So we might already have Noxious Gnash or our buffs up already. For reasons I'll explain later. So if Noxious Gnash is close to dropping, we'll use Dread Fangs. If not, we'll use Steel Fangs for increased potency. Then either Hunter's Sting or Swift Skin's Sting. For this instance, we'll use Hunter's Sting, and then Flank Sting Strike, which will give us the buff Hind's Sting Venom, which increases the potency of Hind's Sting Strike. So for our next combo, we'll follow the same pattern. If Noxious Gnash close to dropping, yes, use Dread Fangs. No, use Steel Fangs. Then we must use Swift Skin's Sting, and then Hind's Sting Strike, as we have the increased potency buff from Flank Sting Strike. After executing Hind's Sting Strike, we get the buff Flank Bane Venom, increases the potency of Flank Bane Fang. Their next combo, Dread Fangs or Steel Fangs, Hunter's Sting, Flank Bane Fang, and this gives us the buff Hindsbane Venom that increases the potency of Hindsbane Fang, and then Dread Fangs or Steel Fangs, Swift Skin's Sting, and Hindsbane Fang grants us Flank Stung Venom that increases the potency of Flank Sting Strike, which puts us back to square one with Dread Fangs or Steel Fangs, Hunter Sting, and Flank Sting Strike. Again, that's a lot, but you should notice a pattern to Viper is it's alternating its GCDs. You'll never do the same combo or positional twice in a row and always switch it up. Look at it this way, if you use Hunter Sting as your second combo hit, then on the following combo, you'll use Swift Skin's Sting. As finishers from Hunter Sting, always buff a finisher from Swift Skin's Sting, and vice versa. This also means you'll always do the 2 strikes first, the 2 banes second, and then back to the strikes. It's relatively simple, and you only have to remember it in 2 parts. Still not getting it? Just follow the shiny buttons. Okay, I think it's time for a well-deserved break. You want to know about AoE? Ugh, fine. To begin with, we have Steal More, which is just raw potency, and Dread More, which applies nearby targets with Noxious Gnash. These both combo into either Hunter's Bite or Swift Skin's Bite. And whoa, would you look at that? The ability called Hunter's Bite grants us Hunter's Instinct, and the ability called Swift Skin's Bite grants us Swift Scaled. It's as if it's a reoccurring trend. Crazy. These two combo into the finishers Jagged Maw and Bloody Maw. Executing either will increase the Serpent's offering gauge by 10 and turn Serpent's Tail into Last Lash, a damaging AoE OGCD. Just like Death's Rattle, it's free damage and needs to be weaved within this window. Overall, this is similar to the single target combo. Jagged Maw grants Grim Skin's Venom that increases the potency of Bloodied Maw, and Bloodied Maw grants Grim Hunter's Venom that increases the potency of Jagged Maw. But unlike the single target combo, there isn't 4 finishers here. There's only 2, so we're only alternating 2, and we have the freedom to pick any of the 2 combo finishers on the 3rd GCD without being tied to the 2nd GCD, so there's less error for misinputs. Let's try it in practice. Just like with a single target rotation, if Noxious Gnash is already up, we can use Steal More, otherwise we'll use Dread More. Then we'll either use Hunter's Bite or Swift Skin's Bite, depending on which buff is lower, and then we'll use either a Jagged Maw or Bloodied Maw. The first and second choice doesn't matter as long as our debuff and buffs are running. We only need to alternate the finishers here, or just press the shiny buttons. Oh, and if I'm mathing this up correctly, which I am, we'll be using this on 3 or more targets. When dealing with 2 or less, we'll just use our single target combo. Ugh. Now that boring stuff is out of the way, let's finally get onto something a bit more exciting. The hand-crippling Twinblade combos. For single target, we have Dreadwinder, Hunter's Coil, and Swift Skin's Coil. Dreadwinder is on a 40-second cooldown, holds 2 charges, is a combo starter, and applies Noxious Gnash, and grants 1 stack of Rattling Coils. Oh, we'll need that sword gauge back. Anyway, just like with the Serpent's offering gauge, I want you to keep that in your noggin for now, and we'll come back to it later. Anyway, the other 2 hits, Hunter's Coil, which should be executed from the target's flank for increased potency and grants Hunter's Instinct, and Swift Skin's Coil, which should be executed from the target's rear for increased potency and grants Swift Scaled. There isn't a unique color for these 2 actions, unlike in the basic combo, so you'll just have to remember which one is flank and which one is rear. Just get good in it. These 2 can also be used in any order after Dreadwinder, and just like when Samurai first released, it's a topic of debate of which is more important, the damage buff or the haste buff. Currently the haste buff is of more importance, but just like when Samurai first released, this could change, so just keep that in mind. Either way, all will be covered in due time. But for this example, we'll start with Hunter's Coil to get the damage buff, and then Swift Skin's Coil to get the haste buff, because I already wrote this all out on the script already, and I just can't be bothered to change it. Bite me. Although I do want to mention that doesn't mean one or the other is better. For the most part, you'll be using Dreadwinder on cooldown to quickly reapply Noxious Gnash and your buffs, so it depends which one is running lower. If Swift Scaled is lower on time, then use Swift Skin's Coil first. If Hunter's Instinct has less time, use Hunter's Coil first. Both Hunter's Coil and Swift Skin's Coil also increase the Serpent's offering gauge by 5, and changes Twin Fang to Twin Fang Bite and Twin Blood to Twin Blood Bite. So kind of like the finisher in our core combo, these are 3 damaging OGCDs, except we get 2 to weave instead of 1. Ugh, just thinking about this makes my hand hurty. There's also another catch. The order we have to execute these OGCDs is dependent on what second hit we use. In this example, we're starting with Hunter's Coil, which grants Hunter's Venom, that increases the potency of Twin Fang Bite. Twin Fang Bite grants us Swift Skin's Venom, that increases the potency of Twin Blood Bite, if used under Hunter's Venom. While Swift Skin's Coil grants us Swift Skin's Venom, and the cycle repeats, but this time starting with Twin Blood Bite into Twin Fang Bite. To remember this easily, I just set my Twin Fang above Hunter's Coil and Twin Blood above Swift Skin's Coil. It's like a little square that rotates around my hotbar. So cute. Anyway, let's run that back to get a better idea. So we'll start with Dreadwinder into Hunter's Coil, then weave Twin Fang Bite first and Twin Blood Bite second. Then finish the combo with Swift Skin's Coil, weaving Twin Blood Bite first and Twin Fang Bite second. And if that proves difficult, we can always just press the glowy buttons. Yay! Either way, to my general understanding so far, this combo as a whole applies Noxious Gnash and grants us our 2 buffs, Hunter's Instinct and Swift Scaled, much faster than the basic combo. So it just seems the most logical thing to use this before anything else when engaging an encounter. At least that's what I initially thought, but I need to keep you watching, so I'll purposely withhold this information until the next segment. You're welcome. Anyway, moving on, we have... yes, the AoE equivalent. Of course I was about to cover that. Just like with the dual blade combo, Twinblade also has an AoE combo, and works almost exactly the same as the single target variants, so forgive me as I cut some of the Makote tail fluff. Pit of Dread is our combo starter, applies Noxious Gnash to all nearby targets, is on a 40-second cooldown, and shares a recast with Dreadwinder, grants us a stack of Rattling Coil, and allows us to execute Hunter's Den, which you guessed it, buffs us with Hunter's Instinct, and Swift Skin's Den, buffing us with Swift Scaled. Executing either of these will increase our Serpent's offering gauge by 5, and will turn Twin Fang into Twin Fang Fresh, and Twin Blood into Twin Blood Fresh. Again, because this combo operates exactly the same as the single target combo, we'll handle it in a similar fashion, starting with Pit of Dread into Hunter's Den, weaving Twin Fang Fresh first and Twin Blood Fresh second, and finishing with Swift Skin's Den and weaving Twin Blood Fresh first into Twin Fang Fresh second. And if that's all too confusing to you, just press the goddamn shiny buttons. Oh right, let's go over the reason we brought that useless sword gauge back. For the Rattling Coils. Each stack of Rattling Coils allows the execution of Uncoiled Fury, an AoE range attack, and also changes Twin Fang to Uncoiled Twin Fang and Twin Blood into Uncoiled Twin Blood. We'll want to use Uncoiled Twin Fang first, as Uncoiled Fury grants us Poise for Twin Fang that increases the potency of Uncoiled Twin Fang, and Uncoiled Twin Fang increases the potency of Uncoiled Twin Blood if under the effect of Poise for Twin Fang. So this attack is a potency gained, but there isn't a rush to use it unless we're trying to fit them under potion or going to overcap on Rattling Coils. And the reason I say this is because it's a ranged attack, so it provides a degree of uptime utility. Say if an encounter was going to force us off melee range, we can still use Uncoiled Fury, allowing us to keep doing what we do best, pumping, and it's a much better option than Writhing Snap. Seriously, if you have to press this button because you didn't plan for downtime, you need to rethink your life choices. But lesson learned, I'm sure you know for next time to save a Rattling Coil stack. Now we can't leave talking about uptime without mentioning our gap closer, Sliver, which allows us to dash to an enemy or ally up to 20 yalms away on a 30-second cooldown and holds 3 charges. Very good for closing the gap between us and an enemy, or even utilised for greed by using our ally as taxis out of AoEs, and just like taxis, we dash away without paying back to the enemy. They're overpriced anyway. What are you looking at? I never said my jokes were good. Oh, but before I forget, roll actions. Second Wind, this heals you. Use this if you like staying alive. Leg Sweep, stuns a target. Use this if you hate avoiding point-blank AoEs in dungeons. Bloodbath, use this if you like staying alive. Feint, use this if you like staying alive. Arm's Length, use this if you like staying connected to a boss during a knockback mechanic. True North, use this if you can't hit your positional but still like damage. Moving on, we have our 2-minute buff, which is Serpent's Ire. That not only grants us a stack of Rattling Coils, but also allows us the execution of Reawakening. Wait, did Final Fantasy go woke? I can't believe it. Either way, Reawaken requires 50 Serpent's Offering Gauge, or Ready to Reawaken from Serpent's Ire to activate. And it's a GCD, does AoE damage around us, with a 60% damage fall-off, and grants us 5 stacks of Anguine's Tribute, allowing us the execution of the Carpal Tunnel Syndrome combo, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th generation, and the finisher, Ouroboros. All generations are made equally, but don't let the boomers hear you say that. By being on the GCD with a 2-second recast, do the same potency, our AoE, and have a 60% damage fall-off for each generation hit. Serpent's Tail becomes 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th legacy respectively. God, this just sounds like Enshroud. Ahem. 1st generation replaces Steel Fangs and Steel Maw. 2nd generation replaces Dread Fangs and Dread Maw. 3rd generation replaces Hunter's Coil and Hunter's Den. 4th generation replaces Swiftskin's Coil and Swiftskin's Den, and Ouroboros replaces Reawaken. So just make sure these are all uncomfortable buttons to press and you aren't giving yourself a aneurysm navigating your hotbar. You can copy my hotbar if you like, I know a lot of you do it. You're not fooling anyone, so get a good look at it. Anyway, Reawaken may be fast, but it's the most straightforward combo out of the lot, as there's no alternating the combo, but if you find that hard, then just follow the glowing buttons. Honestly, why are we even thinking about all of this when the job is that simple? Well, I firmly believe that having a good fundamental understanding of why you're doing what you're doing can help a lot when pushing your skill as a player to the next level, and for that, my fellow Snake enjoyers, is what we're about to get into in the next section. Pause. Just a heads up, the next section will include Dawntrail, Zone, and Encounter spoilers, so if you haven't done Dawntrail yet, first off, what the f are you doing watching a level 100 guide? And second, you know the basics of the job, so come back once you're ready to learn more. It's not like I want you to watch anything baka. In Solution 9, what makes someone a grey passer? Getting cock. What? Well, okay. If you're miraculously still watching by this point, you should have a basic understanding of snake handling, but now you want to take it even further, to know how to edge the snake and then let it all out at once for even bigger burst damage. And the answer to that is pretty simple. 2 Reawakens every 2-minute burst window. Assuming an encounter is 100% uptime, the number of Reawakens per minute should look like this. 0 minutes, 1 Reawaken. 1 minute, 1 Reawaken. 2 minute, 2 Reawaken. 3 minute, 1 Reawaken. 4 minute, 2 Reawaken. 5 minute, 1 Reawaken. 6 minute, 2 Reawaken. 7 minute, 2 Reawaken. 8 minute, 2 Reawaken. 9 minute, 1 Reawaken. 10 minutes, 2 Reawaken. That's a lot of Reawakens at the 6-minute mark. And I got this from the balance guide, so if it's wrong, you can blame them. Anyway, the reason for this is because Viper generates a lot of gauge, so accomplishing 2 Reawakens during the burst window isn't actually all that complicated. The difficulty comes in avoiding gauge overcapping and not letting our debuffs or buffs drop during the burst. And there's a few tricks to help with that. The 2 core abilities that will help with optimizing are Dreadwinder and Uncoiled Fury. These 2 abilities have a lot of versatility, and if you want an easy brain-off experience, you can just press them off cooldown. But there's some things to keep in mind when pressing these 2 buttons. Something that we didn't talk about earlier is combo breaking, and the only combo that can realistically break is Dreadwinder, with the exception of using an Uncoiled Fury, which won't break Dreadwinder's combo because it functions the same as a range attack. But doing anything else will, like entering Reawaken or using another combo action, will break Dreadwinder, which means once you use Dreadwinder, you have to commit. But we can use Uncoiled Fury still if we need to disengage or delay Hunters or Swiftskin's Coil in case of not being able to hit their positionals. This also helps with getting every Uncoiled Fury within pot window, letting us a potency gain, and who doesn't love gains? Speaking of potency gains, because Dreadwinder has 2 charges and applies Noxious Gnash, it can be used as a gain, not only due to its high potency nature, but to also help us avoid a usage of Dreadfangs over Steelfangs, resulting in more damage, and this is something we should be actively aiming to do. There are a few ways around this. For example, we see Noxious Gnash has less than 20 seconds left and our Dreadwinder is about to come off cooldown. Rather than use Dreadfangs to extend the timer, we'll use a Dreadwinder, which allows us a usage of Steelfangs. Or we see Noxious Gnash has a little over 20 seconds. We could start our combo with Steelfangs and then Dreadwinder after the first or second GCD in our combo. We could also use Dreadfangs and delay the Dreadwinder until Noxious Gnash is back to sub 20 seconds and then use it. You get the point. As long as you aren't overcapping the timer of Noxious Gnash too much or your Dreadwinder charges, we'll be saving ourselves some damage, and that's all you have to realistically think about here. On the flip side, using Dreadwinder to manipulate this can prove problematic if used at a bad time, as the Dreadwinder combo and even Uncoiled Fury have longer recasts than the standard combo and could delay your burst phase during the 2-minute window. So in my experience, just pressing Dreadwinder on cooldown is a lot more comfortable, and I do recommend just keeping an eye on your Noxious Gnash timer so it doesn't overcap too much when Dreadwinder comes off cooldown. Even if that means letting your Noxious Gnash get to sub 10 seconds, as long as it doesn't fall off, like I did, that's all that matters. There's also the matter of forced downtime and understanding how long it'll last. Not long if it's like me. But just before downtime, you don't really want to apply Noxious Gnash, as it would be wasted on something you can't hit. You also don't want to overcap your Dreadwinder charges during downtime, but you also want to ideally have a charge for when the boss becomes targetable again. This is very fight specific and will require planning and experimentation, so get out there and experiment. To break this down even further, we'll go over some rules to follow before entering our 2-minute burst window. Using 2 Reawakens back to back is about 22 seconds. All raid buffs have been standardized to 20 seconds. So this means the GCD within Reawaken is getting lost somewhere. In a perfect world, this should be the Reawaken GCD itself, but we don't live in a perfect world. So just make sure you're getting your double Reawakens more or less within the burst window. As you get better at Feedycraft, you'll be able to consistently hit your 2 Ouroboroses within the burst window. Or you could spreadsheet, but just thinking about spreadsheeting raises my cholesterol levels. Anyway, ideally we want to enter our burst phase coming off hot, just finishing 2 basic combos to get our burst running and Noxious Nash reapplied. Remember, the double Reawaken window is 22 seconds long, so we want our Noxious Nash and burst to exceed that time. To get a good idea on when those 2 combos begin, we want to pay attention to the timer of Serpent's Ire. If it's around 15 seconds, this is where we'll ideally be starting our first combo, then finishing with a second combo, and then we'll be fully ready to enter our 2-minute burst phase with 2 Reawakens. Something that helps me with this is the fact that the basic single target combo is almost impossible to break, with the exception of using your AoE combo. Dreadwinder or entering Reawaken will not break the combo, which means after those 2 things, you can resume your combo where you left off, which makes it extremely flexible when planning around the burst phases. Maybe you do a mistake, or downtime puts you behind on your rotation, or you just have too much skill speed. Then you could use Dreadfangs to reapply Noxious Nash, and the second combo hit to extend one of your buffs, and then enter your burst phase. It could make you slightly late in the burst phase, but dropping your Noxious Nash or your buffs during the burst phase is even worse. And again, this is something you'll get better at the more you get a feel for your Viper during encounters. Now for the real stress-inducing activity, actually playing the job. So let's go over the opener, rotation, and give you an example of what the burst window will look like. To begin, we'll start with Dreadfangs to apply Noxious Nash, then weave Serpent's Ire and combo into Swift-Skin Sting to get Swift Scaled, then Dreadwinder, late weave a Dexterity Potion, Hunter's Coil, weave Twin Fang Bite into Twin Blood Bite, then combo into Swift-Skin's Coil and weave Twin Blood Bite into Twin Fang Bite, and then enter our Reawaken and do our Reawaken combo. Once that's done, we'll finish our combo off with Hindsight Strike, 2 Uncoiled Furies, Dreadwinder, and then another Uncoiled Fury, and then finish the Dreadwinder combo, and that's the opener. After that, we'll loop our rotation like normal, using Dreadwinders off cooldown, spending Uncoiled Furies, and using the odd minute Reawaken. During this downtime, I just want to say that you're looking awfully good today. Did you do something with your hair? Just wow. But what I wanted to say was, yes, instead of starting with Dreadwinder in the opener, we start with Dreadfangs and Swift-Skin Sting to get our Swift Scale ASAP. This is exactly what I meant earlier when talking about withholding information, but this is good to not only get our Swift Scale buff up ASAP, but also to align our burst more with our party's 2-minute buffs to further increase our damage output. Now that our Serpent's Ire is about 15 seconds, we'll start prepping our bursts by using 2 more combos to get our buffs running and plenty of time on Noxious Nash, because we're going to need it. Then once our Serpent's Ire is off cooldown, we can use it, finish our combo off, then enter Reawaken. By this time, our party's 2-minute buffs are about to go out and should catch the 2 Reawaken combos maximum potency. Once we're out of the burst, we have a situation of all of our buffs and Noxious Nash being pretty low on time. Using a Dreadwinder here will alleviate those issues, but we have to consider our combo finisher buff. Rather than rushing to spend our Rattling Coil, we should do a full combo to not lose the increased potency on our finisher. Then once we've done that, we can spend those Rattling Coils and everything is back to normality. Oh my god, would you edge at the time? It's almost time to skibbity away, but before that, we got to Sigma the stats. Crit is king because it's got the most Riz, so prioritize that. and have a healthy balance of determination and direct hit to maximize our look maxing, and avoid skill speed like it's a grimace shake. Anyway, get out there and show the world just how much of a better anime protagonist Kirito is compared to every other anime protagonist. Or some shit. Either way, I have nothing left to teach you. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, tell me the color of my pass. It's pink, right? Right? Anyway, consider checking out the Patreon to further support my cause of spreading the word of cringe humor and joining the ranks of these cringe-enjoying individuals. Truly, all beautiful. What are you still doing here? Go and score pink passes in my name. But before you do that, like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye now!